show. I hate bad secret media.
Gamers, welcome to the Secret Levels podcast. This week's episode, I want everyone to gather around. Everyone, hey you over there, you get over here. Hey you over there, where are you going? Get over here.
I'm Player 1, Toby.
And I am Player 2, Goobs.
And this is a retro video game review show where we take one game and we deep dive into the history, the story, the gameplay.
Then we do a rage meter. We rate this game from 1 to 10 or how mad it makes us. Like, do you want to grab a ball peen hammer and smash your big toe? Because that would fucking suck and make you rage completely. And then right after that, we rate the game 1 to 10 because we are what, Toby?
We're simple folk.
Damn right we are, and we will never change.
We don't know how to count higher than 10.
No. I guess I could count to 20, but then I have to take off my socks and shoes.
Well, you might want to take your socks and shoes off for this one, Goobs. Because you might get knocked out of your socks and shoes with the game that we picked.
No way!
Yeah.
Yeah, we picked a great game to play in this month of Dismember. Last year we did Christmas, play some Christmas games. Well, this year we're feeling a little naughty, so we're going to play some games where people get dismembered.
That's right. Dismembered December. I like it.
We got one Christmas game for you, and it's probably the hands down the greatest Christmas game you've ever played in your whole goddamn fucking lifetime.
I know. I can't wait till we get there, but today we are talking about
Mortal Kombat. Fatality.
That's right. We're talking about Mortal Kombat, and we're going to do some history, mostly, I believe.
Yeah, there's a lot of history and controversy when it comes to this game.
Yes.
We're going to touch on the other things that you guys are used to us touching on. Like each other.
I was about to say, like each other? You stole my thunder.
Yeah. If it's not rubbing, it's not racing, Toby.
All right, so you want me to hit you with some details?
Let's jump face first right into the dates.
We are talking about the home console release. So this game was released September 13th, 1993. It was developed by Midway and Sculpted Software. It was published by Acclaim Entertainment. It was originally released on the arcade, but we're talking about the port of the Super Nintendo.
Now you're playing with power, superpower.
Yeah, we're too afraid to play the scarier version.
Yeah,
with the blood code and the dollar code.
We played the tame version because this game was also released on the Sega Genesis, and we'll get into that in a little while. It was also originally released on the Game Boy and the Game Gear. And then in 1994, it was ported to the MS-DOS, the Sega CD, and the Amiga.
I was going to say, Amiga's back!
Yes! And then, of course, it's been on a lot of Midway collection kind of games. And
it's on cell phones. Mortal Kombat's absolutely goddamn everywhere. If you don't know Mortal Kombat at this point in your life, fucking you better jump into a pit.
A spiked pit?
Yeah!
So this is a 1 or 2 player game. It is a fighting game. And there's a story. Would you like to hear a story, Goobs?
It's time for story time with Toby.
We begin our journey on Earthrealm. The corrupt and evil Shang Tsung has invited 7 of the best warriors to his island. The tournament was once held by the Shaolin as a competition of honor and glory until Shang Tsung won, and he began to take the souls of his opponents. After a mysterious death of one of the 3 tournament grandmasters, he was able to find a spot as a grandmaster himself. So he invited an outworlder to compete in the tournament, Goro. This is what started his 500-year streak, which is a hell of a lot better than the Undertaker streak.
Yeah, it is. Very much. Unless Brock Lesnar goes to the other world.
So there are the 7 different characters that come to compete in this tournament. Johnny Cage, Kano, Raiden, Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Sonya Blade. And all 7 of these characters have different reasons for trying to win, and if you beat the game with those characters, it tells a different story of what happens, depending on which character you play with. And that's the story.
No one cares about the fucking story. They care about fucking blood and guts and fucking fatalities, baby.
Well, there is a speedrun record. Did you happen to watch any of the speedrun records?
No, I actually didn't watch any for this one. I didn't want to feel insecure as a Mortal Kombat player.
No shit, right? So, speedrun.com has a record set by Heat Gaming on the Super Nintendo emulator at 8 minutes and 19 seconds. And I'll be honest, I didn't look to see if they changed the difficulty setting or anything. So, still, 8 minutes and 19 seconds is pretty damn quick.
Still fast. There's a lot of fucking rounds you gotta go through. Then endurance rounds and mirror modes and then bosses.
Ooh, yeah. Speaking of all that, how about we talk about the gameplay?
Yes, let's do it.
To start the game, you can change a few of the options. You can choose the game mode, which you can... This is funny. I didn't realize this before, but you can have a normal match or a hand-to-hand. So hand-to-hand means there's no special moves. It disables everything. So you can't throw Sub-Zero's ice. You can't do all that kind of stuff. You can just disable it and just make it fisticuffs.
Bull fuck shit that, man.
Right?
We're not playing fucking Pit Fighter.
Thank God.
Yeah, fucking, we'll get to that.
Yeah. You can also control the music, the difficulty, the button configuration, and a few other things. Once you start, you have these 7 characters to choose from, and once you pick your character, you have a tower of enemies that you go through to beat.
It's a big fucking tower, too.
There's 7 normal fights. It's the best 2 out of 3 rounds. So you have 7 normal fights with all the characters, and then you have a few endurance rounds where you face off against 2 opponents. You defeat one, and then another one flips into the frame, and you don't get your health back, and you have to defeat them both.
Kind of frustrating.
It's very frustrating. When you beat the endurance rounds, you fight Goro, a 4-armed, half-human, half-dragon from the outer world.
Yeah, you better watch out for those 4 hands, man. They get a hold of your scrotum and it's gone.
Yeah.
Just ripped right off.
Yeah, he's ripping it off and taking it home with him.
Surprised he's not doing like more in like working as a streetwalker or something. Just fucking 4 hand jobs at once, man. Fucking you're getting it done, getting the money.
See, I was thinking of like walking dogs, and you're like straight to prostitution.
Yeah, well, he can walk a lot of dogs too. He can walk 2 hands with dogs. The other 2 can still jerk people off. It's a multi-service.
It's called a half and half. So after if you can defeat Goro, you will fight the master, Shang Tsung, which he has the ability to change into any character in the game.
So that you fought everyone twice, you're gonna have to fight them again.
Yeah. It's just more insult to injury. At any time, player 2 can press start and join in, and you can fight your friends.
Yeah, I found it weird there wasn't a straight up versus mode.
Yeah, I think
we're so used to that.
I mean, really, it feels like that's where they're really mimicking the arcade version, is where, you have to put in a quarter and hit start.
Yeah.
So, I guess.
Oh, it makes perfect sense, but it's just finding, because like on every other game that we know now, and like even some of the older ones, there's always a versus mode.
Right. There's an option specifically for 2-player versus or whatever. So, the buttons, the D-pad, if you use left and right, you can move forward and back. Up will make you jump. Down will make you duck. A is low kick. X is high kick. B is low punch. Y is high punch. The L and R shoulder buttons are block. If you hold down and press one of the punch buttons...
The motherfucking most famous uppercut of all time! Knocking people out of their fucking boots!
And there was something, one of the many documentaries I watched on Mortal Kombat, that was a big deal. Like when they showed off the uppercut thing, it was a really, really big deal.
Oh, fuck yeah. It's a great move, and everyone has it.
And come on, as a kid, you were like, God, I wish I could just uppercut the fuck out of this guy. Like there's always that kid you're just like, if I could just uppercut you.
Trying to do that in real life, just like you're ducked down low, like what the fuck are you doing?
You just hit him under the jaw. So yeah, the uppercut. When you're pressing down and you press one of the kick buttons, you'll do like a crouching kick. You can also do throws. You can do a low leg sweep and trip people.
It's so cheap. I love it. Not as cheap as the fucking jump kick. The drop kick. Oh, man. Yes. You can just drop kick motherfuckers all day long.
Well, and then you've got the roundhouse kick, which is pretty powerful. And then you've got your special moves. Each character has their own special abilities. Like Sub-Zero has the ice, like I was saying earlier. Raiden has electricity.
Sonya has her fucking purple rings.
Right. They all have like a projectile and some kind of other attack.
Like a slide or a dash or something like that.
Right. So I think most of the characters have two main attacks for the most part.
Did you mention the get over here again? We're going to just say that as many times as we can.
Yeah, Scorpion has the famous get over here. So he throws a spear and it hooks the opponent from across the screen and yanks him closer so he can...
you can uppercut them.
So you can uppercut them, yeah. There are no combos in this game because this is the first one. We haven't
unless
quite
you hit punch really fast.
Yes. You can make up your own combos, but there is no, like, official combo.
Yeah, no, there's not on the top left corner or right corner. Underneath your power, it won't say, like, how many you've done in a row.
Right. So, who's your favorite character to play on this Mortal Kombat game?
On this version? Well, yeah. Before I was always a Scorpion guy, but now I'm more like a Liu Kang kind of guy. Granted, I can play any of the characters. I'm not like the best at every single one of them, but like I can they're all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
There's not really too much like difference in them in this game. Like they all have pretty much the same moveset, just their special moves are the ones that are taking them a bit out of the different mold than the other characters.
Right. I think Scorpion's probably my go-to. Johnny Cage was my go-to for a long time in the first one and in the second one.
Well, I think those are my ball hit, man.
Yeah, but the ball hit in this one's not as cool as it is in the arcade.
No.
This one, like when you do the splits and hit them, it basically like punches them back. It doesn't hit them in the balls. Like it doesn't have the animation where they bend over and they're like, oh.
That was the best.
So it doesn't look as cool than the arcade version. So tell me about the first time you ever played this game. Where did you play it? How did you play it? I'm curious.
Well, the first time I played this game was actually at the arcade. So I used to live in like one, I've talked about it in the show before, there was one probably about a 5-minute bike ride from my house, so I used to go there all the time on the weekends, and Mortal Kombat came in there, and it was like the biggest fucking thing, because Street Fighter was around, but this had blood and everything, and then when people figured out the fatalities, like, holy shit. It was game-changing, literally. And you want to learn how to do those combos, like the fatality combos, the button combos, not the actual combos, because there wasn't any in this game, as we talked about. So when you see that happening, the graphics on this, because you're playing like real people, like we've seen it before, I mentioned Pit Fighter and shit like that, but it just looks like you're playing like an action movie. Like, this is fucking great. You're playing an old like kung fu fucking Japanese movie. But the further on the story, when I first played on home console, the actually first home console version I played was on a Game Boy. So my friend had one in public school. I was not allowed to own this game, even for Super Nintendo or Sega, because like the whole backlash of parents getting upset because they're playing, kids playing violent games. Granted, I was able to watch any fucking movie I've ever wanted to. Like I was watching Stand By Me, and like that was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. And that movie's pretty, like, not really for kids. And I was watching all the horror movies like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. But no, I can't play Mortal Kombat. That's going to make me a bad person. So I played, my buddy, he brought it to school. and we're playing Mortal Kombat and everything, and then eventually later on in life I got it for the Super Nintendo and Sega and then everything else, and I still play Mortal Kombat to this day.
Yeah, my first experience with Mortal Kombat was we have a taco chain down here in Texas, and I think up into Oklahoma. It's called Taco Casa, and it's if anyone from Texas, they know Taco Casa. Anyways,
I've heard of Taco Casa before.
Have you? Well,
see.
So this local Taco Casa we had Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. And that's the only arcade cabinets they had in the back. And I used to beg to go eat Taco Casa just so I could dump quarters into these machines. And that was my first exposure, was both of them at the same time. Because, I was 5 when this game came out.
Yeah.
So,
Seems
I really
like your
didn't
whole childhood revolved around arcade machines. You'd ask your mom to go to Walmart so you can play Alien vs. Predator. You go to Taco Casa for Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. Your dad would take you to the hotel where you trace fucking video games on tracing paper off the arcade cabinets.
Yeah,
we're not just fakers. We're fucking lifelong friends here on Secret Levels. Not friends, we're lifelong fans. We're lifelong friends too.
We're lifelong friends that have only met each other in the last couple years.
But video games make it feel like a lifetime.
Well, I mean, the arcade machines were the big exposure. Like, that was cool. And then you could bring it to your home console. And I think Mortal Kombat 2 was the first one I actually owned, and then went back and bought Mortal Kombat 1, which doesn't meet Mortal Kombat 2 standards, but that's a different story. But yeah, so
that's another story for another time.
This is how crazy this is. We wrote down, so you know how like it shows the bios and everything, like if you just have it on and like the arcade it'll just cycle through all the bios. Well, there was a advertisement on the screen at this Taco Casa for the comic book. And my mom wrote down the where you mail off the money so they'd send you the comic. And I got the damn comic, the
hot damn.
The comic, the prequel comic that goes with this story. That's why I know so much about the background of the story, because none of this is in the manual. Like all that story that I was telling you earlier.
You don't still have that,
Yes, I still have it. It's not worth very much. I think it's only like $10, $15 or something. Still,
it's
on
fucking
eBay.
No. It's just cool to have that from your childhood.
Yeah, no. I love
childhood fucking memories.
So yeah, I had the comic book as a kid, and I feel like I should say I'm a lifelong Mortal Kombat fan, but again, I was late to the party because I was so young when the first one came out. But let's talk about this gameplay. Like, how do you feel? Does it hold up to today?
I want to say yes. I actually don't mind the way the game presents itself. The graphics aren't too bad.
The digitized sprites of the actual actors, I love it. I love that style.
It's it's just as soon as you see it, it's recognizable. That's fucking Mortal Kombat.
Right.
But the one thing I do have a problem with the gameplay wise is how sluggish it is at times.
Ooh, it is sluggish.
We're used to when you're playing a fighting game, even like Street Fighter or playing World Heroes or something like that on any system, it's fast. Like, not super fast as like turbo editions or everything, but like, I find it kind of laggy at times with Mortal Kombat. Might just be the way like the game is paced, and that's fine. If that's the intentional way that they want it to be, then cool. But I'm just used to a more faster paced Mortal Kombat, playing the newer games, and then like Ultimate 3, I play a lot. I play a bunch of Mortal Kombat with my wife, Jenny Bean. Shout out to Jenny Bean. Get one per episode. I kick her ass unless she's using Baraka.
Well, I felt the same way. I felt a lot of it was real sluggish, and I felt like even the control commands were sluggish. Like, you had to like slow down. I'm used to hitting the buttons quick, like. Yeah,
if you're doing the quarter circle like fireball, your fingers just automatically go fast. There's like no fucking two ways about it. It's muscle memory at this point for us, the age that we're at, and how many games we play. But this one, I actually like feel like I had to tap down forward And like as I'm saying it, like down, forward. Normally I'm like down, forward.
Yeah.
And then hit punch, like not at the same time, but like kind of right afterwards in order to throw whatever projectile I was throwing.
Yeah, no, I felt the same way. I felt like you actually had to press it. You couldn't just like roll your thumb on it real quick and do it. Like you had to press down, forward, low punch to throw like Sub-Zero's ice or whatever. Like everything felt like that. And a lot of the times I wouldn't be able to pull off the special moves because I think I was just pushing it in too fast, and I'd be like, shit, what happened? I missed.
Because I was trying out a theory, too, because I went to go play. I was screwing around with a bit before we recorded. I'm like, okay, this is not really right. So I go to Mortal Kombat 2, and I start doing the inputs there, and it's picking them up a lot faster. So it did get faster as the game progresses.
Okay. And, I bet a lot of that has to do with the Turbo games for, like, Street Fighter. They had the Turbo Edition and whatever else. So they probably saw that and was like, we should speed our game up a little bit. Who knows? We may just be...
I'm not shitting on Mortal Kombat by any means.
No, not at all.
But, yeah, a little sluggish. And the music, I quite enjoyed. It's not really nothing to write home about.
No, the music's good. It gives good atmosphere for each of the levels. Like, all the backgrounds on all the levels are really fun. They're really cool. There's a lot of movement in the background, which I did notice on the Sega. There's not as much background movement. It's a lot more static.
Who needs movement when you have the blood code?
I know. No matter what anyone says, there's always the argument of, I don't care.
Abacab, man, Abacab.
I don't care how good you think the Super Nintendo version is. The Sega has blood. But yeah,
we got high kicks and low kicks, bud.
Oh yeah, you need a 6-button controller for sure.
If you're playing with the 3-button controller, oh my god.
Yeah, don't you have to hold start or something to switch the button? I
think it's something crazy like that. I'm not too sure. I'm sure we'll get some fucking tweet about us.
Right. But yeah, music's awesome. Like you said, it's not like anything that you're just gonna... You wouldn't put this soundtrack on just to jam it out.
No, as you're driving around, I listen to some video game music as I'm driving, and I'm not gonna put this on. But it's immediately recognizable as soon as you hear it.
Yeah, and it's really good for the atmosphere, for the levels. It's really kind of dark and scary on a lot of the songs, so it works. It's the perfect soundtrack for this first game. Now, this game seems like a really basic version of what we ended up getting. Like, this was the bare bones, and usually we see that in all these games where we're playing the first ones compared to the second ones. They advance a lot more. And this one, it just seems really basic. Like, everyone, I believe, has two special moves, and then one fatality. And that's it.
Well, that makes it easy to master, though. You can learn every character within, 10 minutes.
Yeah, now you can, because we have the internet, and we can just look up all the moves. But back when it was on arcade... You need to go buy a fucking GamePro, man, or EGM. Yeah, but back when it was on arcade, no one knew what the buttons were. They had to figure them out, which was awesome. Because I believe on some of the Street Fighter cabinets, they even showed you the button commands.
Yes.
And no one even knew that there was fatalities until someone punched in the right combination, and they were like, "Holy shit, how did I do that?" Also, when you're playing the game, there is a test your strength little mini game where you have to hit the buttons as fast as you can and get your power meter up over this bar, and then you hit the block button, and you'll try to break through some bricks or whatever it is. Is it wood or bricks?
Wood, bricks, ruby, diamonds.
That's right.
There's all different shit you gotta break through. Right. And they continue on this tradition later in the games too. You can still do the fucking test your might.
Yeah.
That gets frustrating too, because you're working hard, man. You're hurting your fucking forearm. This is before, I was playing this game before I knew what masturbation was, so...
I was about to say, this game was before internet porn, so none of us were used to this. Now it's nothing, it's easy.
Kids nowadays can do this no problem. Yeah, but you're mashing the buttons hard, and you gotta push, I think it's start or start or up, or you have to push a button in order to smash the fucking brick or whatever you're hitting.
See, I thought it was block. I might be wrong,
block.
because when I would get ready, this is funny, when I would get ready to actually, like, after I got it all powered up, I would just hit all the buttons at once. Because
that's what I was doing. That's why it was hard for me to call, so I was just hitting everything.
You'd think after all these years we'd figure out what the right button was.
No, we go right back to childhood state, man. Just fucking smashing shit.
Oh, yeah. And this is the ultimate button masher game. You can literally hand the remote to anyone, and they can button mash their way to having a good time. I think that's
beat
really...
you, too.
Yeah,
you land enough fucking roundhouse kicks, man, and uppercuts, you're good done. They're gonna win.
Yeah, because we come into it with a strategy. They're just like, oh, come on, I'm gonna hit all the buttons.
What do I have? 6 of these to hit? Let's go.
Let's see what all these do. So yeah, this is obviously any fighting game is a good button masher, but I feel like this one, this is a good one because there's not quite as many moves that you have to try to figure out. So you can button mash your way to victory.
I find some of the moves do even more damage than the fucking special moves themselves, so...
Yeah, no joke. Like the roundhouse kick and the uppercut, they're always go-tos.
That's all you need.
Big damage.
The damage.
But, there's a lot of history on this game, Goobs. So, like, if you need to, like, go get a drink or go to the restroom or something, because we're going to be sitting here for a minute and talking some history here.
I'll go get a toasty cola.
Toasty cola. Yeah, go do that. I'm going to sit here and flip through this comic book again because it's fucking great. So...
Okay, enjoy your comic book. I'll be right back, buddy.
Okay, all right. Yeah, this is a damn good comic. I'm going to just change the page.
Ooh.
What the hell was that? I'm going to flip the next page.
Ooh.
Okay, I don't remember this comic having noises coming out of it. I'm going to just flip one more page.
Ooh, I have 4 arms. You cannot hold me back.
Oh my god, did you just come out of my comic book, Goobs Genie?
You damn right it did. From your childhood to your dreams, to your future. Ooh, the Goobs Genie is here.
Holy crap. Hey, have you ever played Mortal Kombat?
Oh, I definitely did. I was the inspiration for Goro. He's called Goobs Genie.
Oh, so why'd they change it?
Because they couldn't afford me. Ooh.
The likeness,
my hands are very expensive. They're better used for other things, as you know.
I'm not gonna admit that I know that. Hey, do you have any kind of cool cheats for this game on the Super Nintendo?
Yes, I definitely do. You want to play against a secret green ninja known as Reptile, or as I know him, Reptile. To fight Reptile, win a double flawless victory on the pit and execute your fatality. Do not knock them down the pit. This cheat only works on 1-player mode, so after you do that, you will fight Reptile.
Do you get to play as him? Is there anything special about him?
He's green. You get to fight him. He's like Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Oh. Well then why would you want to fight him?
Because he's another character.
That seems kind of like a ripoff. You don't get to be him, and he's just Sub-Zero. You know what? Get back in the comic book. Just get back.
No,
get back
I'm escaping. I'm going back home to the zoo.
Yep, here you go. Gosh. All right, I don't need this comic anymore. I'm just going to throw it away, I guess.
Hey, Toby, want Toasty Cola? Don't throw that comic away. What's wrong with it?
It's got... Do you want to hear some fun facts?
It's got crusty pages. It's time for Fun Facts with Toby.
Before we get into more of the history and some fun facts about this game, we have to play our favorite game show.
Well, your favorite game show.
Oh.
How much does it cost?
All right, Goobs. This is the game show where you, Goobs, play.
That's me.
You try to guess how much this video game goes for. So, we are going to talk about the Super Nintendo version, Loosey Goosey, just the cartridge. How much do you think
This game
that?
sold a lot of copies. Very popular game.
Yep.
So that means there's a lot of copies out there. It's not quite rare.
Okay.
Talking about my strategy here. I'm going to start planning these things out.
Okay.
Like showing my work in math. I'm still going to get it wrong because I suck at math as well. So, lots of copies out there. Readily available. I can probably go to any fucking game store and pick this game up. You know what I'm going to pick it up for, Toby?
How much?
$10.
$10. Now, we made a rule, I think unofficially last episode, that if you're within $5, the $5 range, you're gonna get it right. Okay?
I like this rule.
Well, you know, it's so hard to pinpoint it. So you say
especially
$10.
we live in two different fucking countries with different money.
Yeah, well, you use fake Canadian money. I use real American money. So you say $10 American.
Yes. USD. USD's nuts.
It goes for $9.
I was originally going to say 9 and rounded up to 10, so...
Perfect. So, now...
No, it wouldn't be perfect, Toby. It'd be a flawless victory.
Ooh, let's see if you can get 2 flawless victories in a row to fight Reptile. Reptile. So, Super Nintendo closed in box. Now, when we say closed in box, CIB, we mean the box, the manual, and the video game cartridge. How much do you think that all together is? It's not new. You can open it.
No.
Not brand new.
It's not brand
sealed.
new.
It's not sealed shut.
Readily available. Pretty close to the other one. Boxes are rare, as opposed to clamshells, because people threw them out with the recycling, because people are horrible people. Parents just suck. Like, I don't need more clutter in the house, but that's gonna be worth something one day. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Joke's on you, parents. But, I'm gonna say $26.
26. Well, with our new rule, you have won because it is $28.
Shit, I was close regardless.
Yeah, you were really close on both of these. Now I'm going to throw a curveball at you.
Okay, how much is the arcade machine?
They actually do have the 1-up arcade machines that you can get with all 3 of the Mortal Kombats on there.
Yes, 1, 2, and Ultimate.
Yes. So, what about the Sega loose cartridge?
Ooh, that one's more popular.
Right.
Sold a lot more copies.
Exactly.
So, fuck. I'm gonna stick around the same price point. I'm gonna go 9 this time.
Alright, 9. It actually goes for $7 loose.
Oh shit, much cheaper.
Yes. Now, closed in box, we're talking the clam case.
Yeah, and those stuck around much longer.
And the manual and the cartridge. How much does it go for on Sega? Closed in box.
It was cheaper on that, but I'm gonna say 30.
30?
Yes.
Closed in box, you should be able to pick it up for around $12.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I see my whole logistics before, my whole thought of everything just went right out the fucking window, so that means nothing. I should have stuck with my gut.
So, yeah.
For $5 more, you get the fucking clamshell, pretty much.
Exactly. And that's exactly why I started collecting closed in box, and, because sometimes that's the case. It's just a few dollars more to have everything.
The game's well protected inside the clam.
Yes, sir. All right, so we're going to get into some of the history and the fun facts. Are you ready for all of this? Because I've got a lot of stuff to go over.
Let's fucking go!
The creators of Mortal Kombat, Ed Boon and John Tobias, said that Midway wanted them to develop a combat game for release within a year. So they created this game with a team of 4 people. So it was Ed, John, along with John Vogel and Dan Forden. they originally wanted Jean-Claude Van Damme to be the star of this game, and it was going to be Johnny Cage's role.
He's got his own game, Street Fighter the movie.
Oh, does he ever?
Which is a better fighting game.
Oh, if you say so. Which is funny because they did end up using digitized graphics in that game. They
definitely did. That's why I played that game at the arcade. So I'm like, this is Mortal Kombat, but not. Anyways, continue.
So the reason they didn't get Jean-Claude Van Damme was because he was actually in negotiation for another game that just ended up not ever releasing. So we don't know. I don't know what game that would have been.
Well, it'd be sick if it was a Bloodsport game.
Oh, I think it. I don't know. Whatever.
Bloodsport and Mortal Kombat are kind of the same thing, but one has like crazy powers and shit. They're both a tournament.
I want to say that Mortal Kombat was slightly based off of Bloodsport, a little bitty bit, and that's
it's also based off other like Japanese, Chinese kung fu movies.
Yeah, and in fact, Johnny Cage was, like I said, modeled after him pretty much, and they used Johnny Cage as a parody of him. Jean-Claude, Johnny Cage, JC, the same initials, and apparently, the Jean-Claude Van Damme does the splits and hits a guy in the nuts.
Yep.
So it's Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Johnny Cage was gonna be the star of the game.
The guy who actually did Johnny Cage is like a pretty good fucking martial artist himself.
Right. The team says that they didn't intend on such an ultra-violent game, but it just kind of gradually developed into that, which I think that's cool that it was a natural progression. It wasn't just like, let's just make the goriest bullshit we've ever seen.
Yeah, we gotta contend with Street Fighter, so let's fucking just fuck people up.
Right. So Ed Boon said that the fatalities came about because he hated getting dizzied in the Street Fighter games, and he thought it would be cool if that's how you finish it, like at the end,
they get dizzy,
when they start shaking
fuck them up.
Yeah, and he thought how cool it would be just to fucking kill someone when they're like
fucking killing someone. We totally didn't talk about the fatalities in this game.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
let's jump into that right now.
Yeah.
They're not as good as the arcade game. Johnny Cage just sticks his foot in your chest.
Yeah. I have a list of fatalities are compared to the arcade version. So like Sub-Zero in the arcade no longer rips out your spine. He just freezes you and then jumps over and smashes you into little pieces.
And only your feet are left.
Yes. Raiden used to electrocute his opponent's head until it exploded, and now he just electrocutes you until you turn to bones and ashes.
Oh! the noise they make when they die is the funny. It's almost as good as fucking Home Alone.
Actually, here's another quick fun fact that I have written right here by that note. Raiden's name in the arcade is Raiden, and they changed it for the console release to Rayden.
Mandela effect confirmed.
Well, they did that so they didn't get sued by or have any kind of copyright issues with the game Raiden.
Yes, the shmup.
So Kano no longer rips out your heart and holds it in the air with it beating. Now he just
takes out your soul.
He pokes you really hard in the chest and then lifts up his hand. They just took out the heart. Liu Kang's fatality is basically the same, except it doesn't have any blood. Johnny Cage no longer decapitates an enemy. Like you said, he kind of uses his foot to spear into your chest.
And that's all he does.
Sonya and Scorpion, their fatalities, they didn't change. They still burn their opponent into a skeleton, but there's no death cry sound. So they just made it to where they don't go, ah!
Oh!
There is a fatality at the pit level.
Not nearly as cool, though.
It's not as cool because obviously there's no blood, but in the arcade version, there's body parts and other dead bodies down in the spikes.
And game developers.
What's that?
Has some game developers down there.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, they took that out completely. But I'll get back to some more differences between the Sega version and the arcade version here in just a second.
Well, Liu Kang does an uppercut. Congratulations.
Yeah, Liu Kang it's just the same uppercut with no blood. So this game was developed in 10 months between 1991 and 1992 with 6 male characters. And they were able to actually get more time by Midway because Midway was really liking the game. And they also wanted a female in the game, so that's how we got Sonya. Some of the names suggested for this game were Kumite, Dragon Attack, Death Blow,
You said
and
Kumite?
Fatality.
So it might be like Kumite.
Yeah, I don't know. What does Kumite mean?
That's from fucking Bloodsport. That's a tournament.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I guess Kumite might have been their version of it. So, this is the story. Someone wrote the word combat on like a dry erase board or something, and later someone came by jokingly and made the C into a K, and then Stevie Ritchie, I guess, was credited for saying, "Why don't you make it Mortal Kombat with a K?" Once he saw that on the board. And then that's what stuck, Mortal Kombat.
The rest is history. And here's some more history.
Well, this is the big history right here. We're talking about between 1992 and 1993, there was hearings on video game violence and corruption on society. Basically, the government stepped in and was saying, you can't have games that are this violent. And I think it had to do with the fact that it looked more realistic and less cartoony. Like Street Fighter was cartoony.
We had violent games leading up to this as well. Like we had Smash TV. Smash TV was violent.
Right. Well, and I think some of the other games that were like in this case were Night Trap,
Yes.
Doom, Lethal Enforcers, because they were more realistic. Mm-hmm. So basically, the government gave the gaming industry 1 year to create some kind of rating system, or they were going to step in and do it themselves. And this is how the Entertainment Software Rating Board, the ESRB. Yep, this is how this was made. And it required all video games to be rated and put on the package.
See, Sega, before you go on, Sega did that on their own when the Mortal Kombat came out. They put a rating on their thing for MA13.
That's right, they did.
Because they gave the choice, because they had the code on there. They meant to have the code on there. It was put into it, because they wanted Sega to be more of an adult system than the SNES. So they put the blood code on there, and then everyone pretty much knew about it when it came out. But parents could not control if their kids knew the code and they're going to put it in. So that's like what caused the big fucking uproar and everyone going nuts. So Sega did kind of jump on the ESRB before the ESRB was the ESRB. How many times can we say ESRB?
ESRB.
Take a shot every time of water. Be responsible.
Yeah, like you said, Super Nintendo wanted to focus on being family friendly. So that's the main reason we don't see blood in the Super Nintendo version. But Sega, on the other hand, was like, we're for adults, bitch. So do you want to hear all the ratings real quick for the ESRB that they put into play?
Yeah, let's hear it. It's interesting facts with Toby.
RP stands for rating pending. EC stands for early childhood, which I don't think they use this one anymore. It looked like they stopped using that rating in 2018. You have E for everyone. E10 plus is everyone 10 and older. There's T for teen, which is 13 years or older, and it could have violence, mild to moderate language, sexual content, and other crude humor. M
for
is
10
for
and
mature.
older? Or 13 and older? Okay.
13. M is for mature, which is 17 and up. It's the same rule as the teen rating, but stronger sexual themes are allowed, more blood, more gore, partial nudity, and frequent use of strong language. Now, there's one more. It's adults only. AO.
You don't really see too many of those games.
No, and it's, you can have really strong sexual things. You can have graphic nudity. You can have extreme violence. And gambling with real currency falls into that category.
Oh, really?
Yep. In November 1993, Acclaim announced that they had shipped more than 3 million copies of Mortal Kombat on the first 4 main consoles that they released it on. So that's the Game Boy, the Game Gear, the Super Nintendo, and the Sega. 3 million copies by November 1993.
That's fucking crazy.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Just taking over the fucking world, man.
They were trying. And you know what? It helped that they had this huge campaign with all... They had so many commercials.
Wasn't it Mortal Monday? Is that...
That's what I was about to say. They had... The day that it was going to come out, they dubbed it Mortal Monday.
I always remember that commercial, the kid on the street, Mortal Kombat! And everyone's like running around the fucking streets going nuts and Mortal Monday. And
they had, I remember seeing,
sorry, got one more thing. It's just another Mortal Monday. You don't get it, but you're giving me a pity laugh, so I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
People will get it. People will get it.
So, yeah, I mean, they had advertisements in comic books and everything. Mortal Kombat got a huge push. And if you listen to, like, Ed Boon's, like, interviews, he talks about, like, people were driving miles and miles to play, like, the arcade machines when it was just an arcade game. So people were ready for a home console version.
Well, fuck yeah, they were. And they want to try to take on Street Fighter. That's why they made this game, to go one-on-one with the Great One.
Yeah, I mean, this was the best competition Street Fighter had, really. And I feel like that's still a big debate. Like, oh, are you a Street Fighter guy or are you a Mortal Kombat guy? You know?
Why not both?
Why not both? So I found this really interesting. I think Japan only got an official arcade release due to the company Taito. How do you say it?
Yeah, Taito.
Taito. They were basically the main reason that Japan got a release, and the home console versions were actually called Mortal Kombat: Legend of the Advent God Fist.
I thought you were going to say Mortal Kombat: Legend of the Advent Calendar. This is Dismember after all, so it's like you open up the calendar, you get like a fucking spear from Scorpion.
Get an ice cube.
I'd be down with like getting a Mortal Kombat Advent Calendar.
Hell yeah, that'd be cool. So I told you about the comic book, the mail away comic book that you could get.
Yes.
They also had the Mortal Kombat CD.
What about the VHS?
They had the cassette tape and CD, which I owned both as a kid. I think I still own the CD.
I wish I still had my Mortal Kombat the Animated Series VHS. The little short film they released.
The Journey Begins or whatever? I used to have that too. And they also had a movie, which we all know and love.
We fucking right we do. Fuck the second one.
Yeah.
Reptiles just like looking like the fucking guy from Monsters Incorporated.
So there was also toys, a novelization, and lots of merchandise.
Yeah, they had like G.I. Joe like kind of figures, didn't they?
Yeah,
kind of like Street Fighter did.
Yep, Street Fighter had the same figures, which was cool because I used to have a few of the Street Fighter ones and a few of the Mortal Kombat ones.
Same here. I mixed them up with my Joes.
See, I didn't ever have G.I. Joes though.
I was a big Joe guy.
Now, we talked about Nintendo being family friendly and they didn't have the blood. They changed the sprite animation of the blood to gray. They just did a palette swap on it to make it what they called sweat. So every time you hit someone, they have sweat or spit come off of them, whatever you want to call it.
Semen?
I think it might be semen too. I think it's just most commonly referred to as sweat. Now, if you use a Game Genie, you can actually type in a code.
Oh, did somebody say Genie?
Get back in the book.
Oh.
You can actually use this code to palette swap the sweat back to red. I mean, it won't change the fatalities or anything. You're still going to get the crappy fatalities.
Yeah, which is a goddamn shame, but...
Yeah. So, and when you actually turn on the blood code on the Sega, it changes some of the fatalities. Like it doesn't change them, but it'll actually like show Kano ripping out the heart and stuff.
Yeah, you get to see the spine like ripped out of the fucking body and shit too.
Yeah. I guess the Game Gear version is a little more superior than the Game Boy version.
It's colored.
But they're both missing a few characters. So you have to lose a couple characters to keep it portable.
And waste a lot of money on batteries for either system.
No shit.
Game Gear was way worse. Sorry, go on.
There was a Master System port based on the Game Gear version that was released to PAL regions in early 1994. And they were even talking about releasing an NES port, but it was dropped before the programming happened, which I have seen. People have taken the Game Boy copy and they've put it on NES cartridges. And so you can play Mortal Kombat. It's just on the NES.
I don't ever want to try that.
No, I don't either. Seems kind of pointless. Electronic Gaming Monthly awarded Mortal Kombat the title of Most Controversial in 1993.
Guaranteed,
Obviously.
hands down.
Yeah.
But controversy makes cash, right? Or cash makes controversy, either way.
So here's some of the differences between the Sega and the Super Nintendo version. The sprites look slightly smaller on the Sega version than they do on the Super Nintendo version. The graphics look a lot more clear on the Super Nintendo version than the Sega one. The Super Nintendo has no blood. Sega does.
That's a big notice right there.
We've got to keep saying it because that's the one go-to thing for every Sega fan to be like, yeah, Mortal Kombat's better. Nintendo has more animations in the background, and it actually has the bios that scroll through. The Nintendo has more voiceovers. You can actually pause on the Nintendo version between
fights, you can.
Like on the tower, but you cannot pause on the Sega. Oh, and one big difference for both of these than the arcade version, it doesn't ever say fatalities. It says finishing or finishers.
Yeah, finish him or her.
So, yeah. So it doesn't, like usually when you get the points, which the points don't matter in this game, it's just for a high score. It says, like, if you do a fatality, it just says finishing, and it'll give the score. Okay. So.
But still, fatality's badass.
Right. And the only other thing that they changed from, like, the arcade to the Super Nintendo, because I've already mentioned all the fatalities, one of the things they changed was in Sub-Zero's bio, and I guess the end scene, it doesn't talk about the assassination, but the destruction of Shang Tsung. So they just kind of PG'd it. And
the whole blood feud with Scorpion and all that shit.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of sub-stories that are going on in this game, and I kind of love that.
And they just keep on expanding throughout the years, and the mythology behind, or the lore behind Mortal Kombat is just great.
Yeah, and then they, with Mortal Kombat 10, they went back and reconned a bunch of stuff and completely changed the story.
And it continues on in 11. 11's a great game, so was 10.
Yep. But that's it. That's all the history and fun facts I have. That was a lot. That felt like a lot.
That was a lot, and I was very quiet for a long time there. You know what? I got some pent up motherfucking rage. Let's get to the fucking rage meter!
Oh, come on!
So this is the Rage Meter. We are going to give a 1 to 10 on how pissed off this game makes us. 1 being not so much, 10 being what, Goobs?
And 10 being when Apple wants to update when you're fucking podcasting.
Oh, that's frustrating. Tell me how much this game makes you rage, Goobs.
My rage, I'm gonna add in a bit of rage from my younger self on this game.
Yeah?
Because I probably lost, I would have been retired by now if I wasn't in the arcade playing Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter and losing all the time. So a lot of my rage is gonna go towards that. That gets a 5 off the hop. Just from being humiliated all the time in the arcade until I learned like the moves and combos and everything. So I was young. I was taking on older men all the time. That sounded fucking wrong. And I swear to God, Willie, don't make a fucking meme of that one. But then, yeah, so, fuck's sakes. See, I always lose my train of fucking thought, because I'm thinking about older men. So, I was just in the arcade, grinding and grinding on the machine, not fucking men.
I was about to say, are you still talking about other men, or what?
No, I'm talking about fucking real life right now. And so, playing the game recently, so I get a +5. I'm at 5 already.
Okay.
So, playing, like, the last few days there, just grinding the game out, picking all different characters, seeing which one fits best for me. And I was using Liu Kang a lot, and I'm like, okay, this is my guy. Let's go the long haul here. And fighting the first battles aren't that bad. When you get the endurance ones, they're kind of a fucking real bitch. And then after that, Goro's a motherfucking cocksucker with 4 arms. He's the reincarnated of the fucking Satan, of the devil himself, pretty much. Because when he grabs you and beats the shit out of you, it's fucking frustrating as all hell.
Yep.
And, like, I went into this a confident-ass motherfucking adult. And I went in, I'm like, okay, I got this game. I'm gonna smoke it. I'm gonna smoke it like a dozen blunts up in Canada, because that's some legal shit. And it didn't work out in my favor. I got fucking stomped. But I did eventually beat it a couple times. And Shang Tsung's a fucking dickhead too. So I'm rage is at a fucking 8. Because that's from past childhood memories. And then you get like a +3 and it all amalgamates. And whatever the fuck the word is, I don't care at this point. I'm so fucking mad. It gets to a fucking 8. Like,
alright.
Hands down. And then there's no blood for even me to be like satisfied with my dying. I
right.
fucking hate when the computer hits you into the pit. It's like insult to like, oh, it's such an insult. It's like, you motherfucker. I don't care if another human sits next to me and knocks me like or does a fatality on me. Oh, cool, I get to see that action. But when a computer does it to you, whole different fucking story. I'm ready to whip the controller right through the fucking TV. 8.5.
Oh, okay, settle down, Goobs.
No, I will not. I will be listened to.
Listen, I'm gonna give it an 8. This game, I think it's just because we're used to playing the newer games, and I'm trying to base this on a now rating.
And it's fucking slow. I'm not done yet. No.
That's what I was about to say. It's fucking slow. It's so, like, picky about how you put in the commands, and it's just miserably slow feeling compared to the other games. Even to just Mortal Kombat 2, it feels slow and sluggish. Those endurance rounds suck so much balls. Trying to fight 2 of those motherfuckers, one after another, and trying to keep your health. You can't do anything except be cheap as fuck. You have
it's hard
to be
to take
cheap.
on 2 guys at once.
You can do it though. I know you can. I've heard stories
From the arcade.
from the arcade. But yeah, no, the endurance round sucks. Goro is a, like you said, a 4-armed demon that reaches around and fucks you up. And
Crazy.
and then Shang Tsung changing constantly to people just a cheap shot you with, freezing you and then get over here and all the bullshit that he does. Man, I even turned down the difficulty setting because I was like,
oh, I didn't do that.
I did. Well, I went back and played it with the lower difficult setting, with especially with characters I'm not very good with, like Sonya and whoever else. Kano, I'm terrible with Kano, and it was still freaking hard. I was like, Jesus, I'm terrible at this game. So, you know what? If you're giving it an 8.5, I'll give it an 8.5.
Jump on the boat, buddy. We're going to the fucking tournament.
This is a fucking frustrating game, and I think that's also the charm of this game of how pissed off it makes you.
Did you go into it as confident as I did that it's going to be like an easy playthrough?
Yes, I didn't think that this was going to be difficult at all. And then
I'm sure some people are like, "Oh, this game's fucking easy. Go and play it."
Yeah, if you haven't played it in the last 2 or 3 years, go back and play it.
First rounds are pretty easy, but then it fucking gets you, man. It fucking really does.
Right. But you know, I think it's time that we settle down and we
I don't know if I can.
Well, you're gonna have to try. We're gonna give it a 1 to 10 rating on how good we think this game is. 1 being that it's a terrible game, no one should ever play it. 10 being it's still good. Go play it. So Goobs, what are you gonna give it? 1 to 10. Tell me how you feel about this game.
I'll give my rating after my explanation.
Okay.
Like I said before, the graphics are still kind of there. Really enjoy it. It's unique as fuck when you're playing a fighting game. You don't really play many fighting games like that. There's only quite a few. The music's it's there. It's not really something you're going to listen to all the time. Again, that was said before. So, I don't really know how to rate this game. It's fun as fuck. It's great. I love when someone jumps in and you get to fight them. Like, playing with friends is always better on this game because computers are fucking frustrating as fuck. And normally when I play something like this, I'm playing with my wife, so I'll get the hands up. Unless she's button mashing, she'll kick my ass if she's doing that. And then if I win so many times, she'll just kick my ass in real life. And so I'll give this game a solid 7.5. There's no blood. Fatalities are missing. The backgrounds are great. Lots of shit going on back there, but yeah, there's still something left to be desired for this one. And like, number 2 kicks it up fucking like 10 notches from this game. We'll get to that eventually one day. But I'm gonna stick with a 7.5.
Okay. Well,
it's iconic as fuck as well. Like, this started a whole... Like, this game can only grow, right? So, the 7.5 is low. But that's a good starting point if you fucking ask me from some of the games that we played.
Well, and we're talking about today. Like, what you rated at today.
Yeah, if I was playing this as a fucking kid, this game's a 9 out of 10. Hands down.
Yeah, when this came out, this was a 9 out of 10 for sure. Like, hands down, because it was so groundbreaking. But we're talking about now.
But we've seen and played everything at this point, so, like... Sure, I love fighting games, I love everything like that, but... sticking with my 7.5, I'm not raising it, no matter what Toby says.
Well, you may be surprised, because I'm going to put this game down a little bit. I don't think it necessarily aged really well. I still think the sprites look great. I think the background looks great. I think the animations are great. I just think it's sluggish gameplay. The move combinations are kind of weak just because, you know, each character has 2. They have 1 fatality. And we definitely know you get a lot more fatalities. Even in the next game, each character has a couple of fatalities that they can use. So, like, by today's standards, I wouldn't say that this is more than a 7. I love the music. The music's real atmospheric for each level.
I got the bad nostalgia bug, too.
Yeah.
As soon as I started it up, it's like 5. Just like my other 5. I started with 5 no matter what.
That's your baseline.
On this game, yes it was.
But, you know, this is not one of the Mortal Kombats that I would go back to. And honestly, this is the first time that I've played Mortal Kombat 1 in years. And it's usually because if I go back to an older one, I'm going to go to 2 or 3. But yeah,
I go back to it every other year just to freshen up my skills.
Yeah, I don't know. If I see an arcade, I would much rather play the arcade. If we're talking the arcade, I'm going to go ahead and bump it up to a 7.5. But
if we're doing arcade, I'm going straight to a fucking 8.5.
Yeah, and that might be the case. I mean, I just haven't played the Mortal Kombat arcade in a long time. But yeah, for the Super Nintendo home console, I think it's just a 7. It definitely has a problem with no blood. But everything else it's fine. It's definitely iconic. It's historic. I mean, this did a lot for the video gaming industry, so it needs all the credit in the world. But
gave us that freaking rating system.
Yeah, and I just don't think it holds up today. So With my 7, your 7.5, giving it a 7.25. That's not bad.
No, it's not too bad at all. That's what I paid for my last handy.
And then it says finish him.
Finish him.
So yeah, we always end our show with a finish home. So that's not anything new right there. We are gonna wrap up the show, and we're gonna plug some of our other stuff. And Goops, would you tell me about your other projects?
Fucking right, I will. The Derailers are back. There is a new episode. Our hiatus is over. The wonderful wife, Jenny B, and my best friend, Ripkin, are back on the motherfucking tracks, and we're going to be taking the world by storm. There'll be new episodes coming up, and who knows what we're going to be talking about, because we don't fucking have any clue until like 2 minutes before we sit down together and start recording. That's the way the Derailers roll. So check out the latest episode, check out the past episodes, check out future episodes. Just check out the motherfucking Derailers podcast, available on every platform you can find podcast on, because be there or be on the tracks. That was the best fucking Derailers promo I've ever cut in my life.
It's pretty decent.
At best.
At best.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, GoobsWN. GOOBZ. Not Z.
Okay, then. Is that what it's called in Canada? Zed?
Yes.
Oh. I've heard you say it so many times, and I was just like, huh.
No, XY.
XYZ?
I was going through the alphabet in my head right now. No, Z. But we say Z too.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was like a Canadian thing.
Zebra? What do you have, Toby? You tell the world. Tell the world about your show.
Oh, I'll tell the world everything.
You better cut a good promo right now.
Yeah, listen here, brother. You can follow me on the Instagram and the Twitter at Toby Von Doom. Oh, yeah. And then you can check out my other show, The Secret Transmission Podcast, where we take a satire look at conspiracies, the supernatural, cryptozoology, and true crime. You can find it on all the major podcasting platforms. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Secret Transpod. But like always, I need to tell you something more important. It's the Secret Levels social media. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Secret Levels Pod. We'd love it if you did. We also have a Facebook page, and we have a Facebook group that you can join and discuss stuff with us. Video game stuff, there's memes posted all the time. It's a good time. But there's an even more exclusive, cool-ass group.
Yes.
What is it, Goobs?
Join our Discord group, please. Everyone is welcome in there. Tons of friendly people in there. Made a lot of great friends in that room. I want to make a lot of more friends. Like, I hang out in that group, like, all the time recently. Like, we're playing fucking Pokemon all the time, doing raids. We're playing other games, too. Smash Brothers on Friday nights. Come in. Be one of us. Even if you don't play Switch or whatever the fuck, come in and just be a part of the community that we're growing. It's like probably one of the greatest things that this show has created. Like, the Facebook group is great. Everything's great. Discord is great. Just come be a part of the fucking greatness. I ask of you this. If you want to be even more great, you can go and rate our...
Wait, time out. You can join the Discord if you check out the show notes. There's a link. Just click it and make sure you have the Discord app and join it.
How dare you cut off my fucking promo? We're going to get to that. But if you want to be even more great, you can rate our show on any of the platforms you're listening to us on. Be it 1 to 5 stars, or be it 1 to 10, whatever the fucking rating system is. Rate us. Be a friend of us. Befriend us. We don't care. We love you all regardless. We're indifferent here.
And if you want to be really indifferent with us, you should buy one of our shirts.
You should. Go to tpublic.com/user/secret levels and put one of our great designs on one of your beautiful indifferent chests.
And specifically right now, I'm really digging the new Goobs Genie t-shirt.
Yes, the Goobs Genie t-shirt is fucking 100% off the chain, fire lit air horns.
Get over here, Goobs Genie shirt. Now, this I feel like this is a good kickoff to our Dismember of December episodes.
Damn right it is.
So, hopefully next week we'll have another bloody, gory game for you to sink your teeth into and chop into.
Speaking of sinking your teeth into something, game over, folks.